So as you guys know, I occasionally like to put out some general NBA content, even though this is a Bulls channel since I'm a diehard Bulls fan. But with it being the offseason for the Bulls, I want to keep putting out content that is relevant, and obviously I also like talking about what else is going on in the NBA. However, in this one, I will still tie this back to the Bulls because it pertains to Michael Jordan and why the debate for who is the greatest of all time needs to end now. So what's going on, everyone? You are listening to Bull Central here. Hope you're all doing well. Guys, I was planning on uploading my mailbag video today, and I've actually already got it all prepared and put together and ready to go, but with the Lakers losing to the Suns last night and getting eliminated from the playoffs in the first round, I really wanted to discuss this as it was top of my mind, and I'll likely put out my mailbag video either later today or tomorrow. But in any event, I'm sure most of you saw that the LA Lakers, the defending champs, were eliminated from the postseason on their home court in Game 6. And although they did make a bit of a run in the second half to make the game somewhat respectable, they really weren't in this game from the get-go. The Suns took a massive lead to start the game, and the Lakers were never really able to get back into it. Now, of course, Anthony Davis, their star big man, did not play in Game 5 due to injury and tried to come back in last night's game in an elimination game, but quickly re-injured himself in the first 5 minutes of play. Now, there's a debate on whether or not Anthony Davis should have been playing since he clearly did not look like himself from the jump, but we'll have to save that for another time. But what I wanted to discuss in this ever-long debate of LeBron James now being the greatest player of all time, given his accolades, his accomplishments, his statistics, his longevity, all of that, yes, there is a valid case for him to be the greatest player to ever play the game. But, and yes, it is a big but, there is something about LeBron James that has been really greatly bothering me recently, and really it's been going on for a while now, and I think it's just finally started to boil over for me. But it's been bothering me to a point where I can no longer consider this GOAT debate to even be had anymore, among other things which I'll get into in a little bit. And that's because the excuses at which LeBron plays with and uses whenever he does not succeed. And guys, I do want to add, I am a LeBron James fan. I know it may surprise you to hear that, and it's probably not going to come across that way when I conclude this video, but as a Bulls fan, and I know Bulls fans can't stand the guy, but I've said this before, I have great respect for LeBron James and his game. He is one of the most talented players to ever play the game of basketball. His longevity is unmatched. I mean, the fact that he's still playing at a superstar level, being in his 17th season in the league with the mileage he has on his belt, is absolutely incredible. And of course, LeBron, unlike some other stars in the league, he makes his teammates better. So for any LeBron fans who happen to stumble upon this video and immediately give it a dislike and label me a LeBron hater, I am actually a fan of LeBron. It's hard not to when you are a fan of the game of basketball. But here is what I take issue with, and it kind of culminated in last night's game. LeBron, as great as he is, when he comes up short, whether it be in the playoffs, the finals, or hell, even a regular season game, he rarely takes the blame. More often than not, there is always another factor at play in why he didn't succeed. Whether it's blaming his teammates, whether it's him not being 100% healthy, whether it's complaining about the refs, which my God, how many times is he going to whine to the refs whenever a foul doesn't get called in his way? And when things don't go his way, he gets frustrated and he stops competing. Last night, as an example, there was a point in the fourth quarter where he thought he was fouled and driving to the basket. It wasn't called, and he sat there arguing with the ref and didn't even make it to the other side of the court, continuing to argue with the refs, and the Suns scored on the other end. LeBron, of course, walked off the court early in last night's loss, which is not a good look and not a really showing a sign of class for him. And guys, above all, the reason for losing the series, no Anthony Davis. Well, LeBron, I hate to break it to you, but if you want to be considered the greatest of all time, these are the moments in which you show up. These are the moments where you lead your team to victory despite not having your number two. These are the moments where you're not looking for excuses, the moments where you're not complaining to the refs and just playing the game of basketball at the highest level possible, having that killer instinct and obsession with winning no matter the circumstance. That's the difference between LeBron James and Michael Jordan. MJ never looked for excuses. MJ never blamed the officiating. MJ never blamed his teammates. He never really had all those theatrics of flopping and flailing on the court, or the nonsense heroics of claiming he was seeing 3 rims out there after getting poked in the eye, but was battling through to try to win the game. No, MJ was the ultimate competitor. He had that killer instinct. And if he didn't, he didn't need excuses for his play, and he took the blame when he wasn't able to succeed. And of course, Michael Jordan never had these ridiculous theatrics that I feel like we see from LeBron now more than ever, which I'll get into in a little bit. And guys, I don't want, me saying this to take away from all the great things that LeBron has been able to achieve, because in my eyes, he clearly is the second greatest player to ever play the game. And that title that he had and he won in 2016 with the Cavs against the 73-9 Warriors was an incredible feat. LeBron has 4 titles to his name, and of course, when you look at the majority of his numbers, they are unmatched compared to most players in the history of the NBA. But guys, when people are talking about LeBron being the greatest player of all time, how can you compare him to MJ, who closed out his career, well, with the exception of that stint that he had with the Wizards, but a guy who closed out his career in the last 6 seasons of his time in the Bulls, all going to the finals and winning all of them? Yes, MJ early on in his career, sure, he struggled to get it, past the Pistons in the Eastern Conference Finals. He even struggled to get out of the first round very early in his career. But when he finally did get over that hump in 1991 and beat the Pistons handily in a sweep, he never looked back. He didn't even, need the theatrics to get him there. He didn't need to jump from one team to the next to find whatever basketball situation suited him best. He didn't need coaches to get fired until they found the right one. He was locked in for every game because he wanted to win, and he wanted it more than anyone else on the court. And you just don't see that from LeBron all the time. Look, LeBron as an all-around player is probably better than Michael Jordan talent-wise. He's a more skilled passer, rebounder, shot blocker. He's obviously bigger, and of course his physique and strength in getting to the hoop, powering through the lane like a freight train, makes him an absolute freak of nature. But what separates him from Michael Jordan is he doesn't have that killer instinct all of the time. I'm not saying LeBron doesn't have the killer instinct ever, but he doesn't possess it in the way that MJ did every single game, especially in the postseason. You didn't see MJ flopping or flailing, looking to get a call to get bailed out the easy way. No, he played hard-nosed basketball and never looked for an easy way out. And guys, I don't know what has been going on with LeBron and all of his flopping. I know it's been something he's been doing for a good portion of his career, but lately it has just been getting out of control. Or the theatrics of him rolling on the ground and in pain as if he's hurt so badly, but then gets up and plays through it as if it's some heroic feat. It's almost like he wants somehow to add to his legacy of games where he was so badly hurt but played through it, like you've seen from some other greats in the past, or maybe even like Jordan in the flu game. I just feel like, LeBron is trying so hard to cement himself as the greatest player of all time. He wants so badly that now he's putting on all of these antics and shenanigans and blaming others when things don't go his way. It's really all been damaging his legacy, in my opinion, more than anything. Just play the game of basketball, come in with that killer instinct no matter the circumstances, no matter the calls on the court, no matter who is injured and who isn't, and play the way Jordan did, like you wanted to win more than anyone else on the court, rather than looking for some sort of validation and an easy way out to win championships, like going to the Miami Heat to form a super team, coming back to Cleveland because it was a better basketball situation where, he made the move and then claimed that he was moving there because it was bigger than basketball, and then leaving Cleveland when it was clear the team wasn't going to win anymore, coming to LA and did everything in his power to have the franchise turn their future upside down to get Anthony Davis. So I know this was a bit of a rant, and at the end of the day, I still think LeBron James is an incredible player, a future Hall of Famer, a generational talent. He's the second greatest player of all time. I've been fortunate enough to have lived in a time where I got to see both him and Michael Jordan play, both iconic figures in the game of basketball, but the GOAT debate needs to cease. It might have been different had LeBron James won a championship this season in a back-to-back run, but after getting eliminated in the first round, and you compound that with all the theatrics and excuses that we've seen lately in his career, something we never saw from Jordan, I think it's safe to put the debate to rest. Let me know what you guys think though. Do you think the GOAT debate is done? Or maybe you thought that it was never really an argument for LeBron to be the GOAT from the get-go? Or do you think the greatest of all time debate still hasn't concluded yet, since LeBron's career obviously isn't over? Let me know in the comments, and guys, be sure to subscribe to the channel whether you're a Bulls fan or you're just an NBA fan, since I'll be doing some more general NBA content on this channel as well. Thanks again for tuning in, guys, and I will catch you in the next one.